Back in 1996, fighting game fans were introduced to a concept that seemed unorthodox at first, but would soon grow into a massive fan following. X-Men vs. Street Fighter paved the way for what would today be known as the Marvel vs. Capcom series of fighting games. With games being released pretty much yearly, the series was thought to be done with Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but in 2011, the FGC let out a cry, for the series re-emerged with Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and then Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 later that same year. And again, everything was quiet. Until recently. With the advent of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, there are a host of new characters that could be brought in from both Marvel and Capcom respectively, as well as seeing some possible veterans return. This is Steve from NerdMake, and I'm bringing you NerdMake's top 10 most anticipated characters for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Number 10.
Hey, you know what? There's another name you might know me by. Starlord.
Who?
Well, Starlord, man. Legendary outlaw. Guys,
Move!
With the rumor that this iteration of Marvel vs. Capcom is going to focus more on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, well, the side that's supposed to collaborate in Infinity Wars anyway, Starlord would make an excellent addition to the roster. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 saw the addition of Rocket Raccoon, which is all well and good, but come on, who wouldn't want to see a hyper combo attack where Starlord starts a dance battle with the opponent?
Bring it down hard. Someday, put it together.
What are you doing?
dance off, bro. Me and you.
Number 9. Venom. Venom was introduced in Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2, but after that he was never seen again. Probably due to the fact that they made him a bulkier Spider-Man clone with a slightly different moveset. Kinda like Ganondorf and Captain Falcon, or Lucina and Marth. Giving the big guy one game to cool off, I think it's time for the Sinister Symbiote to make his way to the arena with a reimagined move list ready to bust some heads. Number 8. Sigma. The original release trailer for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite gave us a glimpse at a character that got the DLC costume treatment in the last game, Mega Man X. Given the fact that they usually make it a point to have villains join the fight alongside their respective heroes, Sigma only seems a fitting choice. Having had so many different forms spanning the different Mega Man X games, I think the original Sigma from X1 with his wolf companion Velgarder would be a perfect fit. Number 7. Captain Commando. Alright, I know what you're thinking. Captain who? For those of you who don't know, Captain Commando was Capcom's spokesman for their console games back in the late 1980s. The Captain was shown some love in Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2 as a playable character, with a moveset that used his various gadgets and allowed him to call his Commando companions Genity, Sho, and Hoover. Cap recently saw a re-emergence in Project X Zone 2 for the 3DS, so Capcom hasn't forgotten about him completely. Perhaps that'll be all he needs to springboard into the arena once more. Number 6. Cable. The son of Jean Grey and Scott Summers has made his appearance in the Marvel vs. Capcom series before. Bringing along his arsenal of futuristic weaponry, he was a force to be reckoned with. With the latest news that X-Men and Fantastic Four characters could possibly be added into the game as DLC, Cable would definitely be an awesome addition to the roster. Especially with the possibility of having the Cable-Deadpool team combo.
Cable? Hey, man out of time. What are you doing here?
We haven't seen him since our run in the comics together.
Oh, I love reunions.
Wade, I need you to listen closely. I've time traveled from the future to bring you a dire warning about...
Oh, God, here he goes again. He's not here 10 seconds before he starts boring us with his dire warning from the future.
Number 5. Black Widow. The Avengers have seen most of their members make appearances in the Marvel vs. Capcom series. Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Hawkeye, and by extension Ant-Man. And now, it's Natasha's turn. Capcom already had their secret agent character in the form of Crimson Viper from Street Fighter 4, and honestly, she had a moveset similar to what I imagined Black Widow would have. right down to the wrist tasers. Number 4. The Monster Hunter. This is definitely something I've wanted to see since the announcement of Marvel vs. Capcom 3. The Monster Hunter would make an amazing addition to the game, with a moveset that would allow them to switch between 3 different weapons for offense, defense, and distance. Personally, my choice would be Greatsword, Lance, and Light Bowgun. This wouldn't be the first time they've introduced a mechanic like this either. Amaterasu from Marvel vs. Capcom 3 had a moveset dedicated to using 3 of her weapons. Who wouldn't want to charge in against their opponents wearing the signature Rathalos armor and just waylay on them like you're tired of the game's built-in desire sensor screwing you out of that one drop that you need to make the perfect weapon for your set, but no matter how many times you farm, you just can't seem to get it. Sorry. Number 3. Blade.
Kill him. Wait! I owe you, man. I got 2 new hands, Blade. I don't know which one to use to kill you with.
The Marvel vs. Capcom series has had its fair share of hunters. Demon hunters in the form of Dante, Ghost Rider, and BB Hood, zombie hunters in the form of Chris and Jill, but now we're missing something. Oh right, vampires. And who best to personify the role of vampire hunter than the Daywalker himself, Blade. Blade's arsenal of anti-vampire weaponry would make him a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield. His throwable glaive, sunlight bombs, and of course, his signature sword. Pair those with the unworldly reflexes and strength of a vampire, and you've got yourself one tough opponent for anyone willing to go toe-to-toe with Blade. Number 2. Leon Scott Kennedy. The Resident Evil series has seen its fair share of representation in the series, from Jill Valentine in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, to Chris Redfield, Albert Wesker, the Nemesis T-Type, and Jill making her brainwashed return in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Now it's time for someone else to take up the reins, and that person is none other than Leon Scott Kennedy. The poor guy's had to deal with zombies, chainsaw-wielding alien parasite people, and a crappy game. Looking at you, number 6. I think he might have some pent-up aggression to take out on some superheroes. After all, Leon only makes an appearance in every even-numbered Resident Evil game. Look it up. So with this technically being Marvel vs. Capcom 4, I think it's only fair. Before I round off this list with number 1, I just want to throw in an honorable mention for both the Marvel and Capcom sides. My honorable mention for the Marvel side would have to go to Ghost Rider. Although we've already seen him show up in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, it would be nice to see him again. I believe the Spirit of Vengeance could make an appearance with his new incarnation, Robbie Reyes. Lastly, my honorable mention for Capcom goes to Lord Raptor from the Darkstalker series. We've seen Senko show up and show off her unorthodox fighting style with the things she hides under those massive sleeves of hers, but who wouldn't want to wreck their opponent and rock out while doing it? Lord Raptor would be a perfect fit, and would give us a welcome break from series veterans like Morgan, Felicia, and Senko. Number 1. Deadpool. Let's be real. When we heard that good old DP was going to make his Marvel vs. Capcom debut in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, we all lost our minds. What fourth wall breaking shenanigans would he bring to the ring? And he did not disappoint. With a hyper combo that allowed him to beat his opponent senseless with his health bar and super meter, let's just hope that Marvel vs. Capcom 3 isn't the only entry in this series that sees the ever-popular Merc with a Mouth. Seriously, Cable Deadpool team combo.
Damn it, Wade!
Thanks for watching, guys. Who do you want to see make an appearance in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite? Leave us your ideas in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to NerdMake for more top 10s and nerd news, and we'll see you guys next time.